Hi, Sean Huxter here. Welcome to Sydney Swift Shuts Down the Steam Power Punk. So today I'm actually going to start construction of this beautiful toy that I've made. I originally intended for this to be made in FDM print, so it would look like this. And you can see lines and just, this is what I was kind of resigned to having, because this was my printer at the time. But now, this is my printer. This is the level of detail I'm going to have on my floors and my walls and my little details. Like, look at this. This is what we're looking at now. So today, a moment came that I'm a little bit scared of, because now I've got all these pieces together and they're painted and they look really great. And now I'm going to assemble them, and I really hope I don't screw it up. So we're going to be doing a series of little videos. I might knit them all together into one, or I might release them individually. But today we're going to focus on the bottom interior, which is this section here, with the valve hatch and the pipes and the dock lock. That's about all we'll do in one day, because there's a lot of pieces to this set and I don't want to rush it, and you kind of got to assemble it in sections. So the first thing we want to do is take the dock ring, the lock that locks the vehicle in place. So the vehicle slides forward. I already assembled the vehicle, but since I have to redesign the footholder, this is just going to be a test, and I'll do another one later, and I'll show the assembly of this as well. But this lock kind of comes up, and the vehicle kind of locks in place once the chin pushes forward. So right now we're going to take a little crazy glue, a little super glue, and just attach it here. Just a little bit. And this is a power pillar that attaches right here. Right here. And we'll hold it until it kind of sticks, and then we repeat the other side. So it usually takes a few seconds for these to cure, I guess, to dry. And let's try another one. You don't need a lot. And that one goes on this side, like so. So here's where I'm worried about messing up, because if your finger slips a little, that could be the ruination of a part. The blue pillar was printed in like a lime or mint green blue that cures to look like a really nice turquoise. And so there are some turquoise parts in here. My original set was done in turquoise ABS, and now I'm doing it in turquoise resin. And let's hope this worked. That looks fine. I wanted this assembled first because we got to put the two face pieces for the floor into the base, the lower face. This is the lower face of the set, the outside face. It has my a gear here to hold it, kind of like as a stand to hold it on. There will be a logo in the middle. That'll be my Huxter Labs logo. That'll go there eventually. And so what we do here is this. Oh, I pre-did some stuff here. I painted in effluent slime, like a toxic liquid in here. This will be seen through this grate. So when this goes in place, you will see toxic effluent underneath the grate. And we'll have some effluent flowing into that. And then here we have a self-destruct device, a very steampunk looking self-destruct device that he plants under the floor of his lab in case he's discovered. And then these two halves fit right here. But before that can happen, this has to slide in there. Now, one thing I did notice is I'm going to have to file something a little. So I'm going to pause for a minute. Here's a case where when I was doing the FDM version, it was fine. But because this is resin, I found this right here, this little section here was a little bit too far down. And I will go into my model and remodel that later. But for now, I'm going to do this off camera because I need the hand dexterity. And that might be enough. And since this is going to be like a hidden part, I don't need to repaint it. Mainly the reason I wanted to do this is as this slid in like so, I found that this was rubbing up against the rails here, the two vertical rails. Now that I filed it a bit, that's running smoothly, so that's perfectly fine. And you can't see that part because when this is in place, it looks like this. so you can't see that filed part. And you can already see that little bit of scraping here that came from the extra pressure pushing down. So that's gone now, just a little filing. And I will adjust the 3D model so that next time I don't have to do that. You will notice all this pilling here. This was the supports because I printed it upside down like this to get all the detail on the outside. And these pills don't matter because you're never going to see it. And it's just like acne skin, really. It's just, there's no problem because it's going to be absolutely invisible. This is a bit tricky because I have to place this here. And then these two parts have to go here and here in such a way as they fit onto the face perfectly. But you see how there's a little movement? So this has got to come forward, and that now kind of locks it in place. And just to be absolutely sure, I have the chin part, which goes down here at the bottom of the thing, snaps into place here. And as I pull this forward, the chin should snap right into place and form a smooth line where these two ferrules meet. There's a slight mismatch right now, whereas there's a little height difference, and that might be just the model and not the printing. So the first thing I want to do is, I'm not going to glue this down yet, but I am going to use it as a guide. So I need to get these two pieces down, and I'm going to make sure that they are sliding okay. And so now I want to lift these up again and lay some glue down. And here's where it gets really scary, because if I don't do this right, it's going to be bad. So I'm going to use super glue gel for this part, because the gel gives me a little bit of leeway on moving it around after I've placed the glue, and a little bit of timing to make it stick. So I take this unpainted bottom here, and I'm just going to place some gel in various places down here. And again, I do not want to be screwing this up. And I will lay this down like so. And then I'll do the same over here. And there's some time, so I'm going to lay some down here like so. Now, before I do this, actually, I have to do the hatch first. So I'll let that, yeah, I'm gonna pause for a second. There's a step I have to do first. Careful as I try to be, I don't always succeed. So one thing that has to happen next is this hatch has a wheel valve on it that rotates, and this hatch has to go under the floor before the floor goes in place. So we need a pin, which is a little earring back that I got at Michael's, and I cut this down already to the right height, so that when I take this pin, put it through the bottom of the hatch in that little hole right there, and the pin sticks up like so, I need to put the tiniest bit of glue, just the tiniest bit, on the pin hole here, the pin. And then I need to take the wheel valve, which is this thing. Have I got the right one? I've got the right one. Yeah, is that the right one? Yep. There's 3 wheel valves, and they're all very similar, just they're different sizes. And so we got to take this and put this on here and slip it down. And so now this wheel valve is glued to this pin back, but not the door. So this valve will rotate like so. And I want it to rotate smoothly, so I'm going to rotate it a few times here before I attach it. Now, this hatch is ready to go on the floor. Before I was going to glue this down, this has to go under here, like so, and then the pins have to come up into the little pin locks here. And then this valve opens up, or this hatch opens up. And that is secured in the floor, and then we can put the glue back on here and get rid of some of this stuff here. Put the glue back on here. Don't put any glue near the hatch. And place this floor down. Now, we hold this in place for like 30 seconds or so. Make sure that this still slides back and forth. Perfect. And I'm going to pause while this dries. Okay, I'm back. I have just made sure this is glued down. I also did a little paint right here to make sure the gear stands out, because that's supposed to be a black space. And as you know, if you watch my channel, I just dropped something on the floor. And the worst thing about that is it was super glue, and I do not want to be doing that. That super glue is kind of dangerous. All right. In that it would ruin my carpet. So let's see. The next step is I want to lay down the dock. Well, I don't want to lay the dock down first because the pipes have to go down first. It gets a little cramped in the corner over here. A lot of stuff going on, so I want to get this right. And the first thing I do is place this little pipe. And I already printed a gauge to go inside that pipe. And what I did is I printed this. I did this in Photoshop. And then I sent a photo to a 1-hour lab. And I got these photos back for very high-res detailed gauges and things. And then I just use those because that's better than any sticker my printer can print. And so now I'm going to put this pipe in place here, that little black gauge. Now I did it black there, but I'm doing it in copper this time. And that goes over here in this corner, right up against this kind of lip here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here, just a little bit right here, and a little bit, just a little bit on the pipe. And then I'm going to use tweezers because I do not want to get this wrong. And I'll place this like so. And that will stay. And that'll be the first pipe. Now we also have two pipes there. One's a taller pipe and one's a smaller pipe. This one kind of moved. So there's a lower pipe and a top pipe. And again, this one needs to be anchored back better. In my model and my test print, that came loose, but that's fine. We're gonna fix that now. That pipe also has a valve wheel on it. So this is the pipe. And you'll see there's a hole. What I did is I took a little clother's pin, like a sewing pin. I'm going to see if I can't get this up here because there we go. And it's just a standard pin, but I cut it short using a Dremel. And then that pin goes up underneath this pipe, like so. And again, we attach a tiny bit of glue, just a little bit, to the shaft of the thing. Oh, that's too much. I will tell you, this gel glue, when you push the tube, it likes to leak out glue. So we're gonna put a very tiny amount right on the end of that, just a little bit. And then we'll take the wheel for that, place it over, and put it down. And that is a rotating valve wheel. And what we want to make sure is that this doesn't stick. So I'm going to continue to rotate this while the glue dries to make sure that the glue doesn't dry between these two joints, and make sure that when I'm done, this wheel still rotates. So I'll pause again. So that's done, and we also have this other smaller pipe that goes in below. I did make holes for the pipe in the floor, so this should be fairly easy. I did not make holes in the walls. Should not have to, hopefully. I'm going to place a little bit of glue on the pipe around the edge so that it can go into the hole and stay and stick. And then one right here on the flat surface where it goes into the wall, so that when I attach it to the flat surface, it should just bond itself to the flat surface. So this pipe goes into the front hole and then against the wall. So I'm going to try to use tweezers again to get this right. More like that. And let me just align the pipe, lift it a little. And once that glue sets, that should be perfect. And that's the first pipe. The second one goes over that pipe as a pair of pipes, and this is still rotating because it didn't. I made sure it didn't dry solid. And I put a little bit of glue on the end of that pipe right there, and just again a little bit, just the tiniest bit right here on the end of this pipe. And again with our tweezers, Might not have to because the wheel is a good way to hold it. And we place it like so. We put the pipe, and my lighting is a bit off. We put the lighting in the hole right here, the pipe in the hole, and then we slide this over and attach it to the wall, like so, and that should hold. So now we have the two pipes, and when that sets, that's that corner basically done. That's not entirely true. I have the effluent pipe to place, but that effluent pipe I'm not going to place until I've placed this pipe here, and that is after the goggle goes on. So the goggle goes on here, and then this pipe leads down from the hinge to here, and then we use this as a guide for where to place the effluent pipe, so we don't place the pipe quite yet. Now you will notice I put a skull here that the effluent pipe is dripping down on, and then it drips down over the skull and then into the drainage pipe, so that's kind of fun. But what's next is we have to put these dock places in place. But we had to make sure this was in first because it would get too cramped down there. So when that's cured, I'm going to place the two dock pieces. And I think that might be it for today. Because, like I said, I don't want to rush it. There's a lot to do. And there's still some to prepare. Like there's a few parts I have to reprint. I did do one interesting thing, though, is that I made this door, which was originally one piece, and I made this into a rotating handle as well, using another one of those same earring pins, but that's not done yet. So, and I won't be doing this part until I'm up on the upper deck, because this goes on the upper face part. So when I do the upper face part, you'll see this part. I may pre-assemble this, though. You know what? I might as well pre-assemble this now, since I'm working on these gear wheels now. So let's just do that. I will pop this wheel out, because right now I just popped it in place just to hold it. And then I have a short pin. Must be this one here. No, it's this guy right here. A short pin, which I cut down again to fit through the door. And then, much the same way as the valve and the hatch worked, this is going to glue to the door. I'll pause because fitting this hearing through that hole is going to take some time. And now we have the door attached there. Now the pin is a little taller than I want it to be, so I'll Dremel that off or file it down later. For now, it doesn't matter. But this door will now spin as well. I use the end of my file to push the pin into place, and then I use this to push the door into the hole. And I will file that off later. I think I used one of the shortest ones for another purpose, and therefore I got to file that down, but that's easy enough to do. Now I am going to attach the dock pieces, and I think that'll be it for this video. All together, it's coming together really well. The Van de Graaff machine will go here. I left these two little holes here to put little footholds for Max. I can just glue them in place. Nothing actually goes there. I picked two spots on the face, which when you close the thing, there is room for Max, or in my case, Sydney Swift. And we shall find out more about that when we get to it. Now, I am getting glue all over my fingers. I got paper stuck to my fingers and everything. It's not great. So now we take one of these dock pieces and we put a little glue on the bottom and a little glue in the tab hole, and then we place this right here. And these are the tolerances on this print are tight. I mean, they're beautifully tight. I designed the tolerances to work on an FDM printer, but boy, do they really work even on a resin printer. Without any alteration whatsoever, they work beautifully on a resin printer. Now I'll do the other side. You really don't need a lot of glue. In fact, I actually saw a tiny bit of glue peek out from where I placed it on the flat, because it's such tolerance that the glue squeezes out, and unfortunately, and gets onto the floor a little bit. That didn't seem to hold. Okay, a little bit more here. All right, just because I don't want to mess this up, I'm going to pause this again now and make sure that solidifies, and then we'll put the other dock piece in. While you were away, I just put this dock piece in place, and that's fine. Now I'm going to do the pipes over here, and then we'll call it a day, because I realized that over here we have some pipes that have to go in there as well. Probably should have done it before I did the dock, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this now, is to get the best order of things. So when I do an instruction sheet, I can actually do a better order than I'm doing right now. Now I've glued these two this little pipe tank system in place, and there's a little pipe about to go in here. I'll do that right on camera right now. That one holds the velocipede in place. So this little piece here will go on the floor, and when it's there, the velocipede will kind of anchor itself to this to hold it in place in the set when we close it. So let's get a little glue on the bottom here and then a little on the face here, and we will put that into place. Again, I probably should have done this before I put the dock in place, because I wanted to make sure that the pipe fittings were in place before I put the dock down, which was dumb, because the dock just cramps things, makes it very hard to place things. So let's try to do it with tweezers. We'll take this like so, and luckily I registered the tab so it's a rectangle, and it should fit in rather nicely, hopefully. Yeah, it fits really nicely. So I'm going to push it down, make sure it's in place. And when the tab is in place, this is forced against the wall in such a way as it's not going to shift like these pipes over here did originally. Because these are actually registered to holes, which means they can actually swing out if you're not careful. This one, being rectangular, can't do that. So that is in place. And now, that I think is as much as we'll do on the bottom for now. And next time I shoot a video, I will be adding some machinery to the bottom. I will probably do the Van de Graaff machine and little tiny details around. And then we will try to do the top. All right. So thanks for watching. Like I said, I'll probably just do these videos as individual ones. It'll be too long if I did it as one. Then maybe I'll do a supercut later. Okay. See you tomorrow or whenever.